Welcome to Belief Busters Podcast, where we change the world one belief at a time. True transformation happens when we question if the beliefs we hold are of truth, or simply someone else's belief that we have internalized as our own. I'm your host, Rev Cherie Taylor-Jones, and I'm glad you could join us on the journey. We have Kate Semeniuk, who is our guest. She is an expert today, and we're going to be talking about anxiety, phobias, and fears. She believes her mission is really to help people uncover the root and cause of their mental blocks and emotional struggles in a rapid, transformational way. So we're going to hear about that and see how it lands for us, because we are just really in a society that is just filled with anxiety. So my first question to you, Kate, is, well, first I should welcome you. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
My first question to you would be, what beliefs do you think we are told about what success should look like?
When I lived in Ukraine, the beliefs about success were more like the structure of your future. You have an education, you go to school, you get the education, you get the house, you get the family, right? And you get your pension. When I came to Canada, it's much more, for me, I understood that it's much more easier to get all of these things here. However, you open your mind and you open your perspective of everything, like social media, TV, television, everything that they put on you in terms of material world. So success means for many people having stuff connected to stuff, right? Having a house with 2 garages, right? Like having a car, going on vacation twice a year, right? So you have to make money, which of course, to some extent is true. We need to live and we need to support ourselves. However, the more people connect to the material world, the more they disconnect from themselves. And because they are connected to the material world, they start to get fears. What if I lose all of that? What if in the future I don't have enough? What if I can lose that in the future? What I did wrong in the past that led me to this way I am now. So your mind, or our mind, doesn't live in the present.
Right.
Doesn't live with gratitude, doesn't live with unconditional love. It lives either in the past or in the future. And that's where anxiety loves to be.
It does, right? Because we are so focused on our mistakes, and we're so focused on the mistakes to come in the future, that we lose our sense of self, our sense of the spiritual connection to the divine. We get into this understanding that success means material gains.
From a very early childhood, our parents live that way. And they show us how serious the future is. We can all remember our parents telling us, you need to go to college, to university, you need to have good grades, which for the child, having that mind of a curiosity and fun and adventure, that's a serious, expectation. A child of a 6-year-old, for example, if they go to school at 6 or 5, they see school as fun, as an adventure. But parents start to put these expectations. No, you have to do great. You have to be the best. You have to be good enough, right? To meet those expectations. Because in the future, if you do everything right, you'll be able to get this, this, and this. Yes. And that's the early, and for a child, that's very confusing. It's a conflicting belief. The child is born ultimately confident and lovable. They believe everything is available to them. They are connected to the divine, right? They have these conversations with the God, with the divine. They have their own mind of love, right? Of appreciating every single moment. Our children live in the moment until we teach them how to not live in the moment.
Yes. I remember I lived in New York City, and at the time I was in corporate America, and friends having these conversations about how their kids have to get into these preschool, certain preschools so that they would be able to get into college. And I'm thinking, wow, that is insanity. And what kind of pressure are you putting on that child?
Absolutely, Sherry. And that's so right? That child, that 5-year-old child, they believe that I have enough time. I have enough. I am enough and I have enough. And everything, they're in the flow, But however, our parents, they with the belief that they want the best for us. Of course, they want the best. Their understanding of the best is based on their beliefs, right? So we tend to not live in the present. We disconnect from the present and we live with these fears of the future. These fears, and that's why fears, phobias are coming into our life. Anxiety, it is the fear, that unconscious fear. What if? What did I do wrong? Or what will happen if I do this? And that creates a lot of thoughts in our mind. We overthink, which creates a lot of issues in our health as well. Like insomnia, like headaches, like anxiety. And anxiety, which we have it for a very long time, affects our cells. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think part of the epidemic that we're having with teenage suicide is really coming from these expectations of how they need to perform and how their livelihood and success is based on their test scores, based on whatever, their ACT scores to get into college. And if they can't get into college, a good college, then their lives are over at 16 and 17 years old. That's a lot of pressure for kids.
Yes, I so agree. And because I work with kids, and usually age 10 to 16, a lot of kids come to me that I am just tired. I am exhausted. I don't sleep well because I'm too worried about the project. I'm never good enough for my parents because no matter what I do, it's still not good enough. Right? I don't know what I do. My parents are telling me to go into this college, but I don't want to go there. So they resist, they go against themselves. And that creates, and depression as well, disconnection, right? So they don't do what they love. So that's why they feel so overwhelmed that sometimes their mind comes up with this belief that there is no point in living.
Yes.
However, naturally, organically, we were born with this huge desire to live. Huge desire and passion for living.
Yes, I agree with you. And I also like the point that you brought up about our parents are really coming from a place where they think they are supporting us in thriving. Like these are the beliefs that they learned, and they're passing on their beliefs to us with the hope that we do better than they did. So I love that you brought that up, because so often when we do start doing our emotional and spiritual work, we start to blame our parents for the beliefs that we're being programmed with. And I think we need to have a level of compassion with our parents, because at their level of consciousness, that is the best that they knew how to do. Can you share more about that?
Absolutely. So many times, clients come to me with this unprocessed grief, and the grief has stages. Sometimes we are in denial, right? We can't believe we lost the person. The same happens with any trauma, right? With any belief. We can't believe, like we start to be angry then. Mm-hmm. So we are angry. So a lot of people are stuck in that angry stage. They don't go to the acceptance. They don't move on to the acceptance, to the pain part of it, and then to forgiveness, right? And to compassion. However, if we ask our parents, like, tell me about your life. Tell me what your parents, how they wanted the best for you. Or maybe they couldn't even give you that. Maybe you actually had an emotional neglect or abuse, right? So you didn't even know how to give. So now you made the belief that you have to make your kids better so that they never experience the same, right? However, we also have to understand that our parents, they have their own fears, that if they let us go, that means we'll become bad. We'll become uncontrolled. We'll go, if we let us go and do what we love, right? Then it means that, maybe they will become uncontrolled. They won't become lawyers or, managers or any other executives that for them feels like that's the happiness. I'm a good parent.
Yes, I'm a good parent. I launched my child. They are a success. Therefore, I am a success. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. However, when I work with people, we move on from that anger side into pain. They first experience pain, so self-compassion, and then the compassion towards their parents. And then the forgiveness comes. And then when the forgiveness comes, it's like, it's freedom, right? The parent, they talk to their parents differently. They talk to other people differently. They understand them better.
I love what you're speaking to. So I think it's important for our listeners to understand that, first of all, you're not alone in your thinking and those fears and those phobias. Like, there isn't something wrong with you that we can't support you in shifting from. So I really want our listeners to get that. I want them to understand that we are in a society that right now is seeing success as material gains, and what you have, what you've accomplished, how much money you make are the symbols of success. And when we're in that place of trying to keep up with the Joneses, we're constantly bombarded by the not enough. Like, there's this consciousness of lack. And so our work now, and the reason that I've asked Kate to come on the show, is understanding that here we are as human beings. This is the culture and society that we find ourselves in. How do we shift? Right? And so Kate is now going to really share with us lots of different ways that we can, first start that process of going, okay, so I've got these anxieties, these phobias, these fears. Where do I start? What do I do?
Yeah. So in order to go to that place, we need to understand that how our mind and the freedom of choice kind of forms. When we are children, we are dependent children. We are dependent. There isn't a lot of choice. We sometimes don't have a voice. We sometimes cannot express emotions. And we feel stuck in that state of mind until we don't awaken, or we don't get enlightened, right? Or we don't gain knowledge how to do that. However, when we are adults, this is the most important part to realize that everything is in our hands. Like, we can absolutely have a voice, have a choice, and all of those beliefs that we formed where we didn't have a choice, we don't have to carry them anymore. My biggest advice when we start how to kind of break free of the past and the future, right? And to stay in the present, and to understand that material world doesn't define us, right? That whenever we have, it will never be enough, right? That we need to come from a place, I'm enough. I always tell people, imagine you are at the edge of your deathbed and you have to write yourself a letter. Your younger self, you're like 45 or you're 30 or write yourself a letter. What is the most important things that you have realized? And it's like a little meditation, little kind of guided, meditation, that they go inside and they imagine themselves, okay, I've lived my life. I've gained so much. I had lots of money. I had lots of, accomplishments and goals. However, when they start to write that letter, tears start to come out because there is nothing about money and material world. In that letter, everything is about slowing down, not taking things seriously, developing your spiritual, reconnecting with yourself, relationship, right? Love, spending more family time. I always ask clients, tell me about that letter. Did you do that? Tell me what was there. And they were like, wow, I imagined myself, I was like 92. And I wrote that letter. There was nothing about my house, nothing about my cars, nothing about my education. There was nothing about that. Everything was about inner world, unconditional love, gratitude, like cherishing every single moment, right? So that's the first step. Like writing that, you look at that letter and you're like, oh, so these are the important things. This is what I have to focus on. So that's the first thing, right? Yeah, it helps people to really look at these important things. And usually I've never seen a client who would say that they wrote about, oh, go make more money or go buy another car, go like do something. Never. It's all about reconnecting with kids, spending more time so that they have better relationship and spend more time when they are retiring, right? So all of that was about love, relationship, and slowing down, being in the moment and not worrying about the future that much or not overthinking the past, right? When you have that list of important things in your life, every time, every day, you have anxious feelings here. You close your eyes. What am I worried about? And usually it will be a project at work. Kids didn't behave very well. Car wasn't fixed in time. And all of these worries, anxieties, right? And then you look at this list of important things and ask yourself, does that align with my core values? Yes. And like, oh, no. So you shouldn't be worrying about that.
Beautiful. I think that's a really powerful exercise to be at the end of your life in your imagination and really reflecting back on what's the most important. One of the things that you mentioned was the ability to feel pain. I think in our society, we have really gotten to the point of not wanting to experience pain at all costs. We will numb, we will drink, we will drug, we will, do all types of behaviors to avoid pain. Can you share about feeling the pain, how that is a natural process and you're not going to die from feeling pain?
Absolutely. You're so right about when you said that we start to numb it in any way possible. Any way. Starting from suppressing the feelings, right? And saying, no, that's not happening. Ending up in medication or drugs or, and all of the other addictions that we try to numb the pain. However, if we didn't know the pain, you wouldn't be appreciating the good stuff that much. Mm-hmm. Like you can compare, oh, this is pain. This is part of my life. But when you go up, when you overcome a challenge or you came to an acceptance, you forgave, you understand, that's how it feels to be happy. Wow. And then you are doing this, you're taking these actions not to be in the pain. However, the pain comes to our life all the time. We lose loved ones, we see everything that is happening in the world and then bring this pain, right? But pain is part of us, just like day and night. In the day, you are in your conscious, in your logic mind, right? And then when you sleep, you rest and recover. So like day and night, the same is pain. Pain is a great language of our body, is an amazing language of our body to talk to us. Kate, this is the pain in your, something hurts here. Maybe I'm worried about something. Let's figure out what it is. Listen to the pain. My biggest advice, listen to the pain because pain talks to you. It gives you an understanding. What do you need to work on? Where do you need to spend more time? Where do you need to slow down? If it's a physical pain, that's an amazing language. Your body still talks to you. Yeah. If it doesn't talk to you, that means, well, sorry, your body is not here anymore. Right. But if it's still in pain, if it still feels the pain, it means that your body is talking to you. Help me. I am there is a pain. If it's an emotional pain, the same. Your emotional pain is talking to you about something that wasn't resolved. The forgiveness, the processing of the past trauma, whatever it is, it's talking to us. So not to be afraid of it.
There's something in our society that teaches us, there's these phrases like "suck it up, buttercup," just push through it. No pain, no gain. Big boys don't cry, and we really are taught that if we are feeling that pain, that there's something wrong with us for feeling it. First of all, there's a lesson from the time we're little about stop crying. There isn't a reason for you to cry. And that is really a false belief. How do you help people get past that belief that they're not supposed to feel pain?
It's by giving them this knowledge, how their mind works, how they form their beliefs. Yeah. How you form the beliefs is from a perspective of a child. The child believes everything their parents tell them.
Yes.
They believe it because there is no one. Yes, it confuses their mind because deep inside they still have their own intuition, their own heart. But the more you tell a child, they start to believe it. Yes. They start, okay, if my parents say that, that must be true. So we start to believe the belief that I can't show my emotions because if I do, I will be punished or I will be rejected or I will not be loved. My needs will not be met, right? So, however, when we grow up, right, we still believe subconsciously, we still believe we will be rejected. We will be, it's a failure. It's a weakness, yes. And it's painful. We can be punished. We still believe that. And when I understand, I tell clients like, yes, you were a child. Look at that. You were a child and you formed that belief. But what do you know now that you didn't know as a child of 5? And they usually like, oh, I can cry. Like no one will punish me for that, right? Like they understand. Like, oh yes, I have a voice. I can say no if I feel like this is my, like benefit in my health or well-being, right? Like I can do this and this. Could you do that when you were 5? No. That's why you formed the belief that you have to shut it down in order to survive. Our mind always wants to keep us safe. Yes. Always wants to keep our body living as long as possible because that's the mind's, a job to keep us safe. Yes. Yes, to keep us safe. So as a child, your mind will do everything. If it means to shut down the feelings, to shut down the pain and not express emotions, that's what the mind will do in order to keep you safe. Yeah.
Join us next time on Belief Busters for the conclusion of this episode. If you are enjoying these conversations about assessing your belief systems and how to transform outdated beliefs, then please subscribe and give us a positive review. To support this podcast and its transformative work, you can also become a sponsor for as little as $5 a month. You can reach Rev Cherie at info@beliefbusterspodcast.org. To continue on this journey of evolution, you can also get my book, Turning Your Why into Why Not, at Amazon or any other bookstores, which gives you practical tools to do this work. See you next time on the flip side.